Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Sunday morning. It is week one. Football is officially back. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Man, this is the parlay. We're going to talk fantasy football. We're going to give you our picks for every single game. We're going to answer questions for starts and sits and what you should be doing to win your first fantasy football game of the season. Without further ado, let me bring in the left side to my strong side. The man, the myth, the legend. Awthentik is in the building.
Gang is in the building, man. What's good with you, bro? How you living?
Oh, I'm recuperating after yesterday's really
That might be
bad.
a beard. Was that a beardism?
What?
Recuperate? Beardism. Yeah. I feel you on the recovery, man. Shout out to the graphics department, man, because me and the graphics department was up chopping it up extremely late last night. And shout out to my homie, Entertainer Talking Sports. Had me on the show last night with Bobby Skinner, the homie Mage, who we got to chop it up a whole bunch on that show, man. It was good to get to know him. And Patricia Traynor was actually on the show as well, man. It was a really good conversation. I definitely encourage everybody to go check that one out. But it's been a tough morning to say the least. But I tried to get up at least a good hour early, try to be refreshed. I'm excited, man. Half of the reason why I stayed up late too was just the excitement of football, man. First day of school vibes. I heard my man AP got knocked out last night by your boy Le'Veon Bell. They had a boxing match. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, really? That's right.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back, check that out a little bit. But I'm excited, man. I was just telling you off air, man. I kind of forgot about Red Zone. So getting to watch Red Zone for this first Sunday is going to be amazing. I can't wait for 1 o'clock, man. Can't wait to chop it up and talk a little bit of fantasy football here, man. Talk these lineups.
Yeah, it was just, yesterday was tough for me because Notre Dame lost to Marshall at home.
Cool. That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, probably one of the worst losses in Notre Dame history. It was I was like visibly upset, like shaking my stomach. Like, was it not? It's the second game of the season. We're 0-2. I mean, Texas A&M, they were number 6 in the country. They lost to Appalachian State yesterday. So
that's terrible. Florida took the big loss too, and my guy Anthony Richardson didn't look that good. Last I checked, man, he was like 6 of 17, 6 of 18 with 2 interceptions, man. So I know a bad game can't rule you out, and I know a lot of people on the community are trying to kind of rule them out. But you lose in college this early, especially in Notre Dame's cases, upset. 2 games now. You're like,
we might get knocked out of the top 25 this week. It's definitely possible, but. Afterwards, it took me, a little while, and then I kind of like settled in. I was like, that's the one good part about losing on Saturday is I got Sunday to win. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really hoping for a Washington win. But big shout out to everybody who's in the chat right now. Big shout out to everybody who's watching us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up for your boys, Awthentik and The Beard. We're going to say a couple of quick shout outs. Don't forget, if you have any fantasy football questions, drop them in the chat. We'll try to get through them periodically throughout the show. Also, we will hopefully have some time towards the end before we sign off to give you guys some more answers to your questions. Also, the inactive and active list for today will be coming out at 11:30. So once that drops, we'll have a little bit more information as to who's playing and who's not playing this Sunday, week 1 in the NFL. So big shout out to Waterfly in the building. First one here. Appreciate you stopping by, my man. Anthony, the bluegrass picker, couldn't describe it any better. Said Christmas morning as a kid feels the same. Indeed,
Facts.
It does. David's in the building. The homie Cernock from Cernock's Connections supplying your boys.
Let me say something about what Bluegrass said. This is like, it's definitely like Christmas. I'm glad he said that, right? And it's like when you really young, right? And you ask your folks for a certain gift and you just hoping that when you unravel that paper, you really get the gift that you want. We got a clean slate of gifts right now, 17 games left to try to be a good team, both of us, Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. So I definitely feel you on them Christmas vibes. I remember a couple Christmases opening up them gifts and being like, this ain't Sega Genesis. What is this? And being extremely upset.
Listen, I had the one Christmas where Pops, things were kind of rough, and he just wrapped everything up in like boxes. Like you came downstairs, you was like, "Man, this is about to be lit." And inside the boxes was just a note that said, "I owe you a pair of shoes," or "I owe you."
Your Pops was a straight gangster, G.
I was so hurt after that.
That's a gangster move, bro.
Big shout out to Sir Knox, supplying everybody with their dopest vintage gear. Make sure you guys check him out on Instagram, same name. Big shout out to Simon in the building. Our first question Simon. Of the parlay in 2022, Caitlin Dragon says, first fantasy question of the year, Elijah Moore or DK Metcalf at the flex?
I'm going Elijah Moore on that one.
Elijah Moore, until further notice, we see what the play looks like in Seattle from the quarterback position. Big shout out to Kyle Key, says, are you ready for some football? Indeed, we are. I got to give a big shout out to my homie Dan in Demand is in the building. What's going on, Dan? Good to see you, brother.
What up,
shout
Dan?
out to everybody checking us out from the reselling community. We appreciate all the love.
Facts.
Question number 2, Christian Kirk or Deontay Johnson?
Ooh, I love this matchup for Christian Kirk, man. He's stepping into a role where he definitely got to produce. Deontay Johnson's coming in with a little bit of an injury here, kind of banged up, but I think he is supposed to suit up. I have Deontay Johnson on my fantasy, and I think I'm going to end up starting him. It'll either be him or Pickens. Don't want to let the cat out the bag too much about some of these picks, but I'm going Christian Kirk with this one.
I am also going to go Christian Kirk. As much as I don't like him playing against the Washington team, I'm still a little worried about Deontay Johnson's health, as well as which Mitchell Trubisky we are going to be getting. We still don't know what that's going to be, so that's another big question.
Let me ask you something. Is Cameron Curl supposed to be out there?
As far as I know, Cameron Curl is probably not going to play.
That's going to hurt y'all, too.
We'll have to wait. We're waiting on Cameron Curl. We're waiting on Logan Thomas as far as Washington injury news right now.
Yeah,
speaking of injury news,
on that post route.
Yeah. A lot of people like Christian Kirk to go off today, so we're going to see.
Yeah.
Kittle probably not going to play. Dan needs a replacement. We're going Austin Hooper, Hunter Henry, or Mo Alley Cox. I'm going to go Mo Alley Cox. I think Mo Alley Cox is a nice sleeper pick at tight end today for the Indianapolis Colts.
I had this exact same dilemma. I got George Kittle on my fantasy team. About 2-3 days ago, I went out there and I picked up Hooper. I think that's a good pickup for the Tennessee Titans. Scooped him up from the Cleveland Browns. I don't know how much productivity we'll get, but right now at the tight end position, it's already slim. So, I think you could kind of flip a coin, Hooper or Alley Cox. I'm not high on Henry this year. A lot of crowded people in that room. And that offense over there is not moving too great per reports from the preseason. So got to show and prove. Then maybe we could jump on that train.
Big shout out to the homie Lucas checking in all the way from Australia. I see Kai's in the building. The homie
Salute.
No Mets, No Nets,
Yes,
No
sir.
Jets is in the building. Sean G, Sebastian's in the building. Perry Mack. Shout out to my homie Ken. SSK promo is in the building. We see Ash Money in the building.
Hey,
Good
what
to
up,
see
Ash?
you, sir. Who else we got? We see Logic's in the building.
I checked out Ash Money's last video. Super fire, love all the upgrades you doing over there, bro. Quality looking. I love how you raised that bar this season, bro. So salute to you and anybody in the chat. Go subscribe up to my man Ash Money. The show is called The Get Back. If somebody could drop his link, please drop his link, man. He needs some more supporters over there because he got a really good channel popping, man. Young dude, definitely know his football. And getting me hip to the college quarterback game, too. So salute to Ash Money one time.
Big shout out Ash Money. And I see some regulars we haven't seen yet. What's up? Stephen White is in the building.
What up, fam?
Big shout out to Marjorie holding us down all the time in the chat. Pleasure.
Good, Marjorie.
I see Gretz is in the building. What's going on, Gretz?
Hey,
good to see you as always.
Just woke
Max
up.
Webster, the winner of the Tiki Barber card giveaway. I got to listen to him a little bit on the show last night with you and Entertainer.
Yep.
So that was definitely good to hear Max on the mic again.
Facts.
Big shout outs to the homie Mark Kokowski. What's going on, Mark?
What's up,
good
brother?
to see you, brother. William
Mark is
Ruffin's
really
in
doing
the
some
building.
spying right now. He's in our
Yeah,
league,
he is.
so he's trying to
Yeah,
see
he
who we
is.
like, make some moves. Salute to my guy, though.
Got to give a big shout out to the homie Tom. He says, Dave Matthews versus Jimmy Buffett, week 4. What'd you say?
Man, I'm going to leave that one up to the beard. I don't know nothing about that.
And we got a fantasy question on Twitch. Says Drake London or Chris Olave, the 2 rookie wide receivers. I said it
Yeah.
without saying Wookie.
Wookie.
Listen, Drake London's a little banged up.
That knee.
So I'm gonna go Chris Olave until I see how Drake London looks on the field. But
I'm with you on that, man. I drafted a couple rookie wide receivers by myself, man, because you always know every year you're gonna get one or two that break out. I got Drake London on my bench right now. I think maybe in a couple of games he'll really get acclimated to that offense and that injury he's dealing with that knee. So yeah, I'm going Olave as well.
Big shout out to David for the $4.99 super chat. Says I got an 11-leg parlay for the NFL slate and a 6-legger for the Titans-Giants game. These $5 are for good luck to me and the Giants. Good luck to you, David. We will be rooting for you today for sure.
Definitely.
Kai wants to know Goddard over Waller. Am I tripping? Oof. Listen, there's a lot of hands to feed in that Oakland offense.
Las Vegas. It's so hard to remember that.
Las Vegas offense.
I would have did the
same.
But
I don't think you're tripping. It's a tough decision. Week 1, I always go with the number 1 guy first because, it's just how you're supposed to do it in my book. So I would go Waller, but I'm not upset if you decide to go Goddard.
I like the Goddard start here, man. Last time we saw him in the field against the Bucs in the playoff game, he looked like straight garbaggio. So I think he's got a lot to make up for. And I like the matchup, man, against the Lions. I think it's a better matchup. Chargers defense should be much improved this year, so Waller might get off to a slow start, but ain't no telling, man. He's one of the premier kind of tight ends in this league. I think you could take a week to buffer, really find out. I would also look into the Lions' rush defense, man, from last year, because I think if Philly can run the ball, then that's not going to be good for Goddard. They're just going to run the ball on the Lions all day as much as they can. That game might be a bit of a blowout. I know Detroit getting a little bit of hype with the Hard Knocks, but that game might be a blowout. Do a little research on their rush defense from last year. If they're bottom half of the league, I'm going with Goddard in this one. Or I'm going with Waller, if they're bottom half.
Big shout out to the fellas at Caveman Sports Talk. Says, is it an overreaction to drop or trade Cam Akers? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, my fantasy team, I started Cam Akers. He gave me a big fat donut. So, I mean, dropping him, no. Trading him, maybe. But let's see where the season goes and progresses. Darrell Henderson also has a history of injuries. So, that's something to keep your eye out on. But, yeah, it's week 1. Let's see how things progress. But I wouldn't do anything too drastic just yet.
Yeah, right there with you.
Kadarius Toney or Kareem Hunt? Ooh.
Coin flip.
I'm probably going to go Kadarius Toney for sure. Big shout out to Ali Akbar for the $1.99 super chat. Says, I threw Scary Terry in over Pittman Jr. Go Bills.
Okay, I like that. Terry's going to definitely be going off this year. I wonder what other wide receivers he's got on the team.
And then big shout out, of course, to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says, salute to Awthentik and Tim. Sorry we couldn't hang out today. We have a game on hand today. Good luck in getting ready. Please slap all stinky buds, losers out of the door for us. We will do our best. Big shout out to the homie, the Cardinal Rule. If you guys want some really good content, definitely go check out the Cardinal Rule. They do all types of Arizona Cardinal content, and it's really, really good. Big shout out to our guy over at the Cardinal Rule. And last but certainly not least, big shout out to Stephen Lilly for the £5 super chat. Hiya, boys. So glad the NFL is back because it means content creators like you guys are back. Love your stuff. Let's number 56 GOAT. Let's go Big Blue. Big shout out. So shout out to everybody in chat. We appreciate you guys. We got 56 people here in the building right now. Don't forget, drop those questions if we didn't see them already. We'll do our best to get through them as we go throughout the show. Right now, we are going to start going through some of our best plays this week at each position. And I believe we are going to start with the quarterback position. All right, here we go. Fantasy quarterbacks. We're going to go with our top 3 fantasy quarterbacks first. Then we're going to give you guys somebody who we might sit. And then we're going to give you guys a sleeper pick at the quarterback position. So My quarterbacks, you guys, if you're new here to the channel, I love quarterbacks that give me rushing points, whether it's yards or touchdowns. I think that's the smartest thing to do when you're playing fantasy football, specifically when you are playing daily fantasy sports. Is definitely a huge boost. One of the guys who I think is going to be having a huge weekend is somebody who we have already talked about on this show in our first 2 episodes. Don't forget, we are live every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's going to be Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. I just think that he's going to be an upgrade in his passing game this year now that he has A.J. Brown. I also, obviously he's going to get you some yards on the ground with his feet, whether it's yards or touchdowns. He's also really good in the red zone. I want to say he had, 10 rushing touchdowns last year at the quarterback position?
Yep,
I mean, that's a
passing.
huge amount of points. And then obviously I'm going to go all legs and arms because these guys can obviously chuck the ball too. And that's Lamar Jackson, who reportedly just turned down a huge contract deal, but not as big as Deshaun Watson. Kudos to Lamar Jackson for betting on himself. I am betting on you also, my friend. So Lamar Jackson is my number 2 quarterback, and my number 3 quarterback is going to be Monday night, and that is Russell Wilson in a revenge game. If you know me, you know I love a revenge game. So I'm going to go top 3 quarterbacks for me are going to be Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this backstage. The Beard asked me, so who are your top 3 quarterbacks? Because he sent me some production notes a couple days ago and whatnot, telling me the format he wanted to rock with today. And we literally had the exact same quarterbacks. I had Lamar Jackson at number 1 just because I really liked the matchup, first of all, against the Jets. I had Jalen Hurts at number 2 against the Lions, another matchup I like. And y'all know both of us are pretty high on Jalen Hurts. The running capabilities we know are there, the number 1 rusher on the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. He was the only quarterback in the top 10 of rushing touchdowns. So we know he can do it on the ground. I've been hammering this point about the quarterback school, their YouTube channel with JT O'Sullivan. He's been breaking down Lamar Jackson religiously. He's got 3 videos, 1 dating back to last year, 2 this year. He's breaking down his footwork. It looks like Lamar Jackson has been working on his footwork. He already has pretty decent footwork in the pocket, but as far as when he's throwing, getting his legs behind those throws and not relying on just his athleticism to be able to try to make throws, which actually makes him make mistakes. I'm looking for Jalen Hurts to really have an elevated year this year. I think he's going to be one of the top fantasy quarterbacks this year, especially with the running capabilities. Usually doesn't have a problem staying healthy, and he doesn't turn the ball over. You talked about him in the red zone. He's a red zone maniac. I love when he gets in the red zone. You pretty much almost guaranteed have a score. I like Russell Wilson because, 1, it's a revenge game. He's going back to Seattle to play against the Seahawks. They're not really that team on paper doesn't look good. I know this is early in the year and we're kind of going off a lot of hypotheticals, but on paper, that team doesn't look good. And I think the Seahawks are going to struggle to run the ball, and that will be a way to keep Russell Wilson on the sideline. So I really like Russell Wilson in that. I love Lamar Jackson in this slot because can't forget Lamar Jackson was playing in his book maybe average football last year. And now you're looking at a guy, they were 8-3 before he went out last year. He is that offense. They're trying to build around him. I had a good talk with Entertainer last night about Lamar Jackson. So I really like him against the Jets. I think the Jets are just going to be dookie this year again. So those are my 3 quarterbacks, I think, top. And then also I got to put my guy unsung, Josh Allen. He probably would have cracked this list had we been doing this show before the Thursday night game. He went off for me. I have the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack. That got me over 55 points in my league. He put up 31, so I got to put Josh Allen on that list of top quarterbacks as well.
I was going to ask you how many total points that stack got you.
Yeah, they got me 57.6. In some leagues, I was talking to Patrick about it. He was almost that stack was almost at 70.
That's insane. That is insane. So if you had to sit one quarterback or a couple quarterbacks, who are the quarterbacks that you would avoid playing in week 1?
Now, I'm a switch this on the fly. On my notes when we talked about this, I actually had sitting both the quarterbacks in the New York Giants and Tennessee Titans game. I think that might be a bit of a sloppy game. But now I just saw that the rain is coming down crazy in the Chicago 49ers matchup. I think you can sit both those quarterbacks today. So, and I actually had Justin Fields higher up on my list when we talked about this earlier, but I just saw the video of the rain that's coming down over there, and it kind of looks like that. Was that the Buffalo Bills New England Patriots game where they didn't pass the ball? The rain is kind of looking something like that. So keep your eyes on the weather over there. I think I'm going to sit both quarterbacks in that game.
As far as me, I was even before I even saw the rain, I was going Justin Fields. I am not. I think Justin Fields is going to be a good quarterback in this league, and I love his agility. I love his ability to make the play on the run. But that San Francisco defense is really good, and I think until they can get Justin Fields some more offensive line help and some more weapons, because I love Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. We're waiting for him to have a breakout year. David said he can't confirm in Chicago. It is raining like a mother trucker. So
Shout out David. He's out there in Chicago.
I'm definitely on the mode of sitting Justin Fields. If you want a hot take shocker, depending on who your other quarterback is I might sit Aaron Rodgers.
Woo, that's a super hot take right there.
Yeah, it's not that I don't think he will put up some numbers. I just think that, he's hurting wide receiver position right now. I'm still trying to see how that offense is going to work this year. But if you have another like top tier sort of option with Aaron Rodgers, I would sit Aaron Rodgers. And then also, I think
no way in hell I could do that if I had it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's a two-time MVP. That's why I said if you got somebody else, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. Yeah, if you had another high-caliber quarterback.
It's a hot take. Mm-hmm. It's just something to keep your eye out on. And then Mac Jones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's another good one.
You talked about it, which is why I had to throw it up, is because you talked about it, how that offense. We have two guys who have never called plays as offensive coordinators, co-calling plays as offensive coordinators with a second-year quarterback. And I just don't know what's going to happen with all of that.
What's crazy about Mac Jones is last year, right? A lot of, the comparisons with him and the younger quarterbacks and, some of the guys who've been struggling, they were like, Mac Jones has been drafted into the perfect situation. And then 1 year later, now you got Joe Judge back over there. I forget, what's the homie that was in Detroit that's the other coach over there in New England?
Oh, my gosh.
Like Matt Patricia?
Patricia,
no,
yes.
Matt Patricia. Yeah, so, now it's like he almost went from the best case scenario for all young quarterbacks to maybe one of the worst case scenarios. I might say Davis Mills is in a worse slot, but at least he's got Brandon Cooks over there.
All right, now you got to give me a sleeper at the quarterback position.
Look, man, I didn't even write this one down. Well, I did, but I had to scratch it out. I'm going straight sleeper. I'm going Mitchell Trubisky, bro.
Woo!
I'm going Mitchell Trubisky, man. I don't know, man. He's got a lot of weapons over there. Mike Tomlin, Mitchell Trubisky already has been a kind of guy who can win games. He had a 29-21 record when he was with the Chicago Bears, which is just every time I say it to myself, I'm just like, that makes no sense because people were calling for his job the whole time he was there. He wasn't playing like amazing football. But yeah, I think now with the new coach, he's had a year to sit the bench. With Buffalo, who, might I add, was balling out. So, he got to see what a great quarterback looks like in this league. I think he has a chance to be great. I think Kenny Pickett has a chance to be great, too, if Mitchell Trubisky kind of fails this season. But for this particular slot, yeah, I like Mitchell Trubisky in this one.
Okay, my sleeper is going to be Marcus Mariota.
Game time. I like that.
I've always been a good Mariota fan, and we talked about how we like quarterbacks that can kind of give you a little bit of extra points on the ground. I think Mariota is the type of guy that he's not going to give you Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson numbers on the ground. I think he can get you something, though, similar to what a Russell Wilson gets you on the ground, if not a little bit more. And if I had to throw out a couple of other sleepers, Baker Mayfield, revenge game, Carolina against Cleveland.
That's a good one.
And my boy from last year, who has, finally gotten a little bit of respect that he deserved, and that is Mr. Davis Mills for the Houston Texans. Those are my sleeper.
I don't know about that one.
Those are my sleeper picks at the quarterback position. Let's get to a couple of questions before we move to the next position. James Jones wants to know, Cooper, Waddle, or Lockett, pick two.
Pick two. Okay. The Cooper and Lockett is going to be the more difficult pick, I feel like. A lot of people are down on this first week for Miami. People thinking Tua might be a guy who's going to come out and kind of fall flat. I definitely like Waddle. Keep Waddle in there. I'll go Amari Cooper, I guess, man. No. I'm going Lockett. I'm not going to hate on my man, James. On my man, what's my guy?
Geno Smith?
Geno Smith. I'm not going to hate on him. Geno Smith in 4 games had over 100 passer rating last season when he filled in for Russell Wilson. Who knows, man? He might be able to come out hot. Jacoby Brissett, we 100% know what he is. Me and Taylor was talking last night about Geno Smith. We were talking about teams that might need quarterbacks next season. And I was kind of pumping the brakes if Geno played well. But Geno is getting up there in age, man. In October, I believe he's going to turn 33. So he is getting up there a little bit in age. He's definitely going to be turning at least 32. I think it might be 33 in October. So I think he's got a shot here. Played well in relief last year. Give me Lockett. Give me Waddle.
All right, I'm going to go Waddle and Lockett as well. I just think Amari Cooper, I'm going to talk about him in a little bit, but I like Tyler Lockett. He's still, going to be a deep threat, and Jalen Waddle is a PPR machine. Even with Tyreek Hill there, Waddle is your possession receiver, so definitely something to keep your eye out for. What's going on, Joe Deals? James Jones says one more. Tyreek Hill, Marquise Brown, Debo, Pittman, or Sutton. Pick 3. Ooh. All right, Marquise Brown, 100%.
Oh, I got him. Yeah.
Michael
Marquise
Pittman.
Brown, 100%. You scared me with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's the guy there. We'll talk about him. But Marquise Brown, Michael Pittman, and I'm going to go, Debo or Tyreek Hill. Okay, scratch that. Michael Pittman Jr., Tyreek Hill, Debo Samuel.
Thank you. I was looking at you kind of crazy, man. That's exactly who I would pick too, man. It's the first week of the season, man. You never know what's going to happen, but you got to pick those people that have those high ceilings. Tyreek Hill, if he goes off, you don't want to have him on your bench. Same goes for Debo Samuel. Michael Pittman is going to be a bona fide number 1 this year. Last year had a really good season, but now with a real deal quarterback in there with real experience that he's not going to put you in bad situations. I like that with Matt Ryan over there. Michael Pittman's going to have a big year. So I'm going Pittman, Debo, and I'm going Tyreek Hill as well. If I had to pick a 4th, I'll probably go Sutton. I think that Russell Wilson's going to have a really big year, and I like Sutton over there being the number 1 guy for real.
Big shout out to the homie McGinnis, a.k.a. Horatio, with a $9.99 super chat. Says, every season I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Davis got me off to a good start in both my leagues. Shout out to Gabriel Davis. Let's go. Weather is 53 and partly sunny in Denver. Love you, fellas. Big shout out to McGinnis. McGinnis was able to come all the way from Denver and to the wedding, so it was great to see you, my man. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Salute.
For sure. Okay, here we go. Cernock wants to know 1 to flex: Brandon Ayuk, Dameon Pierce, or Cordero Patterson.
Brandon Ayuk, keep that weather in mind. That's going to be major over there. They're probably not going to be throwing the ball a lot in them crazy swamp trenches that's going on right now in Chicago. Dameon Pierce, a lot of people talking about him in Houston. I ain't no proof yet. I think I go Cordero Patterson.
This is really, really tough. I love Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk has great chemistry based on preseason with Trey Lance so far. I think that's huge, but whether, like Awthentik said, I'm a big believer in Dameon Pierce. You guys know from last year, I love Cordero Patterson, but I don't know how that's going to work in this year's offense. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to go Dameon Pierce. I am very high on him, so that's who I'm going to go. I'm going to go Dameon Pierce for the flex. And big shout out to the homie Max Webster for the $4.99 super chat. Says, asked on Tana's show last night, curious to hear Beard's thoughts. ETN, running back 2, and Kirk or St. Brown. I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown has a huge game today. It's kind of nasty here in D.C. as well, and I think James Robinson is not going to see a lot of snaps coming off of the Achilles injury in this game. So I love Travis Etienne in this position as running back 2. Plus, he can catch the ball out the backfield, which is one thing I really love in my running backs in fantasy football. But I love Amon-Ra St. Brown in that game. So I don't necessarily like to double up position players in one game, especially when the weather's kind of iffy, because you're kind of limiting your options. If that offense just stinks, then you're losing 2 players right there. So that's kind of how I feel as far as that goes.
I like that. Big bars, man.
One more really fast before we get to the next position from Ash Money. Says Amon-Ra or George Pickens.
I like Amon-Ra. Proven. Philadelphia's defense is going to be tough. They definitely going to be tough. Got the new safety over there from the Saints. But I just think the volume is going to be more for him. I got Pickens on my team too, and I'm thinking, like, who do I go Pickens over a guy like Deontay Johnson who's coming in? Maybe the snap count's kind of low. Pickens is a hard one to gauge because in the preseason he was going off, man, and he looks like he's going to be a guy. He kind of reminds me of a Chase Claypool, but there's just so many different pieces in that offense. I think we need to see it week 1 and see what kind of role George Pickens has. So I'm going Amon-Ra.
All right. We are going to move on to the next position. We're going to give you guys our must starts, some sits, and some sleepers for the running back position this week in fantasy football. It is almost time for the injury list to come out. So we're going to keep our eye on that because we are talking about running backs right now. I do know already that J.K. Dobbins is out at the running back position. Does that affect any of your upcoming projections here at the running back position, Awthentik? And who are your top 3 running backs first this week?
Doesn't affect any of my top running backs. Does affect another category we're going to talk about here a little bit. Top 3 running backs for me this week is pretty simple. We got to go Jonathan Taylor at the Texans. Come on, that man should feast. I also like Dalvin Cook versus the Packers, man. I think the Packers are going to regress and take a big step back this year. Look for the Vikings to maybe win that division. I really like the Vikings this year. I think they got everything set on offense. The one concern with them is definitely the defense, but we know Dalvin Cook going to get the volume. The one thing you got to worry about Dalvin Cook throughout the length of the season is the injuries. He does seem to get banged up a bit every year. And I like Alvin Kamara at the Falcons. They brought my man back, Big Trust. What's my guy's name? Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram.
Which I think his role is going to be slow. Mark Ingram in his last slot didn't look too great, so I'd look for Alvin Kamara to get some good volume in the passing game, and probably be the bulk as far as the carries go for the Saints, man. And they got Jameis Winston over there. They brought in Jarvis Landry, a wide receiver. What's my other guy? Michael Thomas, who he's been pretty banged up. I don't know what kind of pitch count he's going to be on today as well. So it's no telling how much the Saints are going to pass the ball. I really like Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara will probably be my number 2 slot. Dalvin Cook be my number 3. And Jonathan Taylor at the number 1 slot for running backs.
And who do you have for you? Actually, let me go ahead and just give you my top 3 also. Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has to be, until otherwise shown, Jonathan Taylor has to be that guy. And a lot of people, I think he might be even better now that Matt Ryan is playing the quarterback position and not Carson Wentz. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on there as well. Nyheim Hines is pretty much going to be the guy back there. I think they signed Phillip Lindsay to the practice squad. No more Marlon Mack, obviously. So this is the Jonathan Taylor show. And I think that with the, upgrade to some people's judgment is Matt Ryan, and that kind of like helps Michael Pittman. It always helps the running game to have a passing game too. So I love Jonathan Taylor. It doesn't really, to me, he's the type of running back where it doesn't matter to me who he's playing. Like when you're a top 3 running back, I'm playing you. It doesn't matter to me until otherwise proven wrong. I'm going Jonathan Taylor. My second running back is going to be Aaron Jones. I absolutely love Aaron Jones this week. I think that, the one consistency that Aaron Rodgers has is Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think Aaron Jones is going to catch a ton of passes out of the backfield as well as running the ball. So I'm expecting a heavy workload for Aaron Jones this week. And one thing I love more than anything else in fantasy football, whether it's DraftKings or season long, is volume. And I feel like Aaron Jones, even with A.J. Dillon, is still going to get a ton of touches in this game. So I love Aaron Jones this week. And my number 3 running back is going to be Joe Mixon. I feel like Joe Mixon, because of how good Joe Burrow was and Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon gets forgotten. He was one of the top running backs last year, and he does catch the ball out of the backfield.
Running back in fantasy.
Yeah. So I'm all about Joe Mixon this week. I think, they're going to try and find a way to be balanced in that game against Pittsburgh. So I definitely love Joe Mixon. I'm going to go ahead and give you my sit before you give me your sit.
Okay.
I'm going to sit Zeke Elliott. I think that Tampa Bay defense is really good.
That run defense is the best.
I think Tony Pollard is going to, they're going to try and, use some more of the running back out of the backfield, which is going to mean more touches for Tony Pollard or more snaps for Tony Pollard than normal. So I think I'm going to sit Zeke Elliott, and then Breece Hall, the rookie running back for the New York Jets. I kind of want to see what that division is going to be like as far as, snap counts between Michael Carter and Breece Hall. I know Breece Hall has been the sexy guy rookie in fantasy this year, but I love Michael Carter, and I think Michael Carter is a little bit more versatile than Breece Hall is. Michael Carter can catch the ball at the backfield, so I think you'll see, especially if they're down a lot, and you got Joe Flacco at quarterback, he's going to be doing a lot of check downs, a lot of easy stuff. So I'm going to sit Breece Hall until I see what that production count's going to be between him and Michael Carter. But tell me who your sleeper running backs are.
Before I tell you my
week.
sleeper, who's the running back you were just talking about before Breece Hall?
Zeke Elliott.
Sitting Zeke Elliott. Yeah. So both times, like when you told me that in the pre-meeting that we had here, I was like, I don't know about that. And even just now when you just said it, I did the exact same reaction again. But I think you're 100% right on this because this is a repeat matchup of opening day from last year. And if you remember correctly, Dallas came out and threw the ball a ton. Dak Prescott had 50 throws in that game. I think he threw it 58 times in that game against Tampa week 1. So that people seem to kind of lean towards the passing game plans when going up against the Bucs because they've had the number 1 rush defense here for a while. Vita Vea in the middle of that defense, even though I know that the Cowboys, most of their run is predicated off the outside zone for the most part, I agree with you now. I don't think that Ezekiel Elliott is going to get a ton of volume in this game, and I don't think he'll get a lot of yards in this game. So I definitely like that pick. At surface value, it sounds wild, right? You're like, sit Zeke Elliott. What? Even though I saw him fall to like the 3rd round in my league, maybe the 4th round. I still think Zeke Elliott's going to, get what's his. He's going to have 1,000 yards probably. He's going to be at bare minimum an average back who gets some touchdowns. But this week might be a good time to sit him. Now, this one for me, running backs get to be very slim pickings, man, when you get out of the 1st, 2nd rounds. And I know a lot of people are looking like, I just need to get a starting running back on my team. And I've seen a lot of people putting Rashard Penny in the flex and as an RB2. I think he's a guy you just completely got to sit. Stay away from the running game when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm a little bit worried about all of the running backs in the Philadelphia Eagles running back room as well, because we don't necessarily know who's going to take that step forward. You got Gainwell over there. You got Miles Sanders, who's been banged up. You got Howard over there, so I'm not too sure who's going to actually take that lead role as running back over there. And you can't forget, they got one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. So their running backs might not get the kind of volume that you might think in week 1. So I'm looking to sit their running backs as well.
And for your sleeper,
we talked about what would happen in Baltimore with J.K. Dobbins sitting this week, and my sleeper's Mike Davis, man. I know Mike Davis hasn't done too great in filler roles. He had that 1 year where he filled in for CMC and did pretty decent, and then since then he's kind of been like trying to find a role here. This might be that. With Lamar Jackson, Mike Davis might be able to find his way into the end zone maybe once, maybe twice, some goal line touches. We'll see, but I think Mike Davis is my sleeper with the knee injury with J.K. Dobbins.
So I love that, obviously, and I'm kind of curious to see how much Kenyon Drake we see in Baltimore.
I think it's a little too early. It's only been about 2 weeks since they signed him. I don't think he's acclimated to the offensive system.
So let me ask you this. If they had equal time in, because I know you like Kenyon Drake. If they had equal time in at that backup position, you're going Kenyon Drake over Mike Davis, right? Yeah.
For the long haul, Kenyon Drake going to be a better move. So if he's available in some of your leagues, might be an easy person to just scoop up.
Smart move right there by Mr. Awthentik. Listen, Dameon Pierce is not necessarily a sleeper anymore, but I am a huge fan of Dameon Pierce. He is one of my running backs, I believe, on 3 out of my 4 leagues this year. I think he's the guy. They made the move to make him the starter. He earned it, which is something I think is really dope. When you earn it's not like he just came in like Najee Harris and there was nobody really there. Like, he came in and he had to earn that starting role. And I think he's going to show his versatility. And then the other big thing is Shaq Leonard, formerly known as the artist Darius, is out for the Indianapolis Colts this week. Last time he missed a game was last year against the Arizona Cardinals, and they had a field day on the Colts. Even though the Colts did end up winning that game, Kyler Murray ran for, I think, like 50-plus yards and a touchdown. Chase Edmonds had 50-plus yards and a touchdown, and he had 70 yards receiving. And that leads me into my number 2 sleeper, and that is Chase Edmonds.
I was about to say, that's a good sleeper.
Love Love Chase Edmonds in Miami. He was the first guy that got targeted in free agency. So that tells me something that, they really, really like him. There's other running backs in Miami for sure, but I think Chase Edmonds' versatility, catching the ball, running the ball, is a perfect sleeper running back this week.
Who do we got at running back 2 over there in Miami right now? Do you know?
Mostert?
Raheem Mostert. Yeah, he's
or
had some health issues.
Myles Gaskin?
Oh, Myles Gaskin. He's been pretty decent.
And
What about that kid they had last year? Was that
Salvon Ahmed?
Yeah, he's still out there?
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah, he's still there. So, listen, you never know with running back sometimes on some of these teams. That's why it's like when you have guys like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, even Saquon Barkley, like those are guys that you play because, they're more of an 80-20 snap count than some of these other, teams where it might be 30-40 or 50-50 or 60-40. You got to love those 80-20 and 70-30 snap count guys.
I wonder if it's a division thing too because, with Miami and with the Patriots, it's very like you can't just get a lead back that's really going to be that guy. They always, by committee. So I don't know if that's a division thing as well.
That's a very interesting take also. And we do have some updates on actives and inactives.
Oh, Marjorie, we need to get you a job over here at Awthentik and The Beard.
It's great. It's great. I was like looking for Ian Rappaport, and I said, you know what? I don't need Ian. I got Marjorie. So
Facts.
Marjorie says active Michael Thomas, Drake London, Jacoby Myers, and Logan Thomas for the Washington football team. Ty Montgomery for the Saints. Inactive, J.K. Dobbins and George Kittle, who we already talked about. Marcus Peters, that's one I didn't really think about. Jack Conklin, offensive tackle, and Denzel Mims, wide receiver for the New York Jets.
Denzel Mims asking for a trade over there, trying to get out of there, but he hasn't put a lot of stats on paper yet. But maybe somewhere else can work out.
Let's get to a couple other questions. We got Shay checking in from Wyoming.
Hey,
says I'm playing against Stephon Diggs this week. Ooh, so I need some ceiling plays. Full PPR start 2. Cortland Sutton, T. Higgins, or Hollywood Brown?
I like Hollywood Brown and T. Higgins in that matchup. Bengals going to do their thing, I think. And Cortland Sutton, too. It's week 1. You could go with any two of these, I think, to be honest. I like Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton and Hollywood Brown kind of match up a little bit, I think. I would definitely put T. Higgins in the mix.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hollywood Brown just because there's nobody else over there. The starting wide receivers this week for the Arizona Cardinals are Marquise Brown, A.J. Green, and Andy Isabella. And then I'm going to go
Does that
T.
raise
Higgins.
A.J. Green stock for you a little bit with the suspension to D-Hop?
It does.
Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily know about the suspension as much as Rondell Moore not being healthy for this game.
Yeah.
I think in this particular game, it definitely raises A.J. Green's stock. But I think Hollywood Brown has a huge game just because he's going to be the number 1 guy, I would imagine. But it wouldn't surprise me if A.J. Green comes out and has, like the first game of the season. It's not like late into the season and the body catching up to his age. You know what I'm saying? He's fresh. I wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Green had a big game this week. Yep. Big shout out to the homie Nick the Wick for the $1.99 super chat. Says, what up? Eagles -5 is free dough.
I like that. Yeah. I feel you on that, man. The Eagles supposed to be a real high-powered team this year, man. They made a lot of upgrades.
And big shout out to James Funk, who has always been our number 1 loyal viewer on Facebook during every Awthentik and The Beard stream.
Big shout out, James Funk.
Dallas Goedert or Robert Tonyan. Now, this is tricky. I'm going Dallas Goedert, but keep your eye on Robert Tonyan. He is coming back from that injury. Him and Aaron Rodgers have a previous chemistry. People forget 2 years ago, Robert Tonyan led the league in touchdown catches as a wide receiver. So definitely something to keep your eye out on here. But I love Dallas Goedert in that Philadelphia Eagles offense. He always seems to have a big game, except for that one game that Awthentik pointed out.
Bro. I'm telling you, if you are interested in NFC East stuff, go look at those QB school videos on Jalen Hurts. They say a lot about that Eagles system. I mean, he really was breaking it down on a real NFL level, man. And over there, they just put out really great content. I agree with you on this one, though. Goddard, you got to go with Goddard week 1. Tonyan coming back. He was questionable for this game, too. So I think the injury might be a little bit lingering there or, just coming back off it. Safer bet is Goddard against the Lions.
So that's gonna wrap up the running back position. Now we're gonna get to a position that Awthentik and I both played a little bit in our days.
When we went to go throw the ball the other day, you kind of scared me with wide receiver skills. You'd probably be a 6th round, 7th round pick in my fantasy team. Actually,
You're gonna drag that one for a while.
I am.
You?
Awthentik, he's a dual threat, man. He can throw it, he can catch it. He ain't gonna play no running back, but he can throw it, he can catch it.
Yeah. Awthentik is the original Cordell Stewart. For you young bucks who don't know who Cordell Stewart was ahead of his time, if there was a time to be ahead of, because that young man played wide receiver, quarterback. He ran the option.
They lined him up at tight end one time. I think, dude,
literally, his nickname was the Slash. Like, if you
did
don't
he return
know,
a punt or two?
Listen, he's Slash.
He's Slash, man.
He's like a football superhero. Somebody needs to make a
cartoon. Botched his career by utilizing him wrong, because they were doing a lot. And in the end, it didn't yield well for him. Like, his stats were never really that good, but he was an exciting player, dynamic to watch too.
Hey, big shout out to Bruce Evans Park. Says Awthentik.
Oh man, Bruce, what up, fam? Hey, that's facts. I'm telling you, man. They moved me to wide receiver my junior year because of that. They were like, yeah, you're not playing quarterback. You're too small. So get ready in the offseason to be the wide receiver over here. I ended up playing backside wide receiver my junior year, and we ran an option system. So that was not good for me getting receptions. I probably only had a good maybe 5 to 10 catches on the whole year. It was pretty bad.
So the legend of Slash continues to grow. Kyle Key says Slash kicked too.
Shout out, Bruce, man. I haven't seen Bruce in a long time, man. Hope everything's well, bro.
Big shout out. One more question before we get to the wide receiver position. Sean F. wants to know, Hollywood or MT?
Is that Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
And now we know he's active.
Got to go Hollywood. Michael Thomas is active, but I haven't seen Michael Thomas play in what feels like 2 years.
I feel you on that.
I'm going to go Hollywood.
Yeah, keep Michael Thomas on the roster. See what happens this week. Jameis coming back off injury. I like Hollywood. The Beard made a bunch of good points, with the injuries over there and the suspension. Who else you going to throw it to? So I like Hollywood in that game too.
All right. So without further ado, we are now going to give you our top picks, sleepers, and don't play this guy for the wide receiver position group. Top fantasy wide receivers. Listen, this is, to me, the hardest position in fantasy football, because you have so many more wide receivers than you do running backs. So you have your top tier running backs, and then there's always a big gap there. We know the tight end position is very slim when it comes to the top of the tiers, and then the guys who you're just like, am I punting this position basically?
Yeah.
And then the quarterback position is very, very slim also. So wide receiver is always going to be one of the most difficult positions to kind of figure out when it comes to fantasy football, whether you're playing season-long fantasy football or you're talking about DFS, DraftKings, FanDuel situations. So I'm going to start off with who I think are going to be top 3 wide receivers in fantasy this week. I'm going to start with a couple of guys up top who are going to be I'm starting these guys because these guys were the best last year, and I have to kind of give them the first push out the gate. That's going to be Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I think Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson benefit from having other really good wide receivers on their team. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson, I feel like a lot of people forget about Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was like a 5th round draft pick. 6th round draft pick in some fantasy leagues. So it's like, Adam Thielen has caught 28 touchdowns in 24 games since Justin Jefferson has been there. So to me, it's like, that goes to show you that Adam Thielen is still going to eat, but it takes a little bit away. You have to have some sort of eye on him on the field. And Jamar Chase has Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Yeah. Not to mention Joe Mixon. So, when you have all those other options around you, it really gives you an opportunity to shine when the opportunity presents itself defensively, whether, there would be a slip up and you get a one-on-one coverage, one of those guys, they're about ready to eat right there. So I love Justin Jefferson and I love Jamar Chase. My number 3 guy, I've talked about him a lot today, is going to be Marquise Hollywood Brown. Now, he is going to be the guy today in Arizona, and I feel like they're going to be playing from behind most of that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game, and they're going to have to chuck the ball around. So I like Marquise Brown, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Marquise Brown played pretty darn well against the Kansas City Chiefs last year at times. So that's somebody that I'm keeping my eye out on as a top 3 wide receiver this week, which is kind of crazy, I know. But Awthentik, who are your top 3 wide receivers this week in fantasy football?
So I looked at this from more of a matchup standpoint. I mean, you talked about a lot of the obvious guys that are definitely top tier wide receivers in this league, especially when you're talking about Chase and Jefferson. And the point that you brought up about having other good wide receivers with them is such a good point, because if you look at the Bengals, I've been studying a lot of their tape because I was just interested how they got it done with such a bad offensive line, because I'm a New York Giants fan. And a lot of it was done by one-on-one matchups with Jamar Chase, and it's a head-scratcher. You ask yourself, well, how is Jamar Chase getting all these one-on-one matchups? Well, it's because they got a lot of talent out there at the wide receiver position. Anytime Joe Burrow recognized that he ran that fade route, and they made a killing with the fade route. And Justin Jefferson, you brought up a good point with Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is exactly what I would like to see out of Kenny Galladay on my team. Thielen had about like 700 yards last year, but this is where he's a winner right here, them 10 touchdowns. 700 yards normally doesn't call for 10 touchdowns, but Kirk Cousins is slanging the ball around, and he's not turning the ball over. So I do like the 2 you picked. From the matchup standpoint, for me, I love Michael Pittman Jr. at the Texans. The Texans are just not a good team. And I like the quarterback pairing with Matt Ryan with Michael Pittman Jr. I'm high on Michael Pittman Jr. For these first 4 to 6 weeks, I'm going to be really keeping my eyes on him. I think he could be a guy that might surprise, because we can't expect the same exact wide receivers that were at the top of the league last year to be there again. Some of them, obviously, but there's going to be someone who's going to regress, somebody who's going to step up, and I think Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be one of them. I liked Deebo Samuel at the Bears, but now with all this rain, I think that's going to be a little bit sketchy. So let me get somebody to kind of just substitute for Deebo Samuels. I like Mike Evans, man. I think Mike Evans is going to have even a bigger role. He's been the definition of consistency since he's been over there, broke the record for most consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards. I just think that he's going to be a guy. You got Tom Brady coming back. He's fueled by the frustrations in his relationship right now. He's going to be a hot man. He's going to try to show his wife why he deserves and needs to be on the field. So I'm looking for Mike Evans to go crazy. And third, I like the matchup with Keenan Allen against the Raiders. The Raiders have a good pass rush. We know with the 2 edges out there, but their secondary has struggled in the past couple years. So I think Keenan Allen, he's been a volume guy his whole entire career, always at the top of the league. And always in the top of the league in drops, too. I will say that. But when you're making big plays like Keenan Allen, the drops don't matter. So give me those 3 in this game or this week. Michael Pittman Jr., Keenan Allen, and my man Mike Evans. I like Deebo Samuels, but I got to kind of regress on that take a little bit.
I love it. I think we just threw some names at you that I think a lot of people kind of just, haven't really been talking about. Mike Evans, the consistency is amazing. We both love Michael Pittman Jr. I think that, those are some interesting wide receiver plays right there from the 2 of us. If there's one guy you had to sit, who are you going to sit at the wide receiver position?
I got to go DK Metcalf here versus the Broncos. The Broncos got one of the better rosters in the NFL. I was talking to Entertainer about this last night, too. When you remove the quarterback, and, granted, their quarterback now is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I know a lot of people kind of took a step back on him after last year. He had the injury. Can't forget about that. But DK Metcalf's a big question mark, man. We just don't know at the quarterback position. They had a quarterback battle in the preseason, and we're talking about a quarterback battle with a guy like Drew Lock. Like, I don't know, man. That doesn't tell me a lot about what's going to happen in the passing game with the Seattle Seahawks. So, yeah, I got DK Metcalf as my sleeper. And I think that they're not going to be able to run the ball, so that's not really going to help them in the play action as far as the passing game goes either.
What's interesting is I just saw in the chat somebody said that it looks like Hunter Renfrow is out with COVID. So if anybody can confirm or deny that for me, that would be great because
I got him in my lineup.
I definitely have Hunter Renfrow in my lineup. So somebody keep an eye out on that for me. But I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Awthentik said as far as who I think is somebody that you got to sit. And I think a lot of times when you're looking at the sit, it has to be about, whether matchup, is there going to be enough volume or quarterback play? And my guy that I'm going to sit is going to be Amari Cooper. I just, I love Jacoby Brissett 4 years ago. But, I mean, we saw him. I don't know if he's ready to be the guy again. He just kind of looks like he's, a bigger version of him, bigger and slower version of himself. Than what he was when he had that opportunity.
Thing with him, bro? Like, you right about that. He looks extremely out of shape, man.
Yeah, to me, that's what I thought when I saw him come in last year. What was it, in Miami, right? If I'm not mistaken, was that last year or 2 years ago? He's been bouncing around so much, but it's just a question mark for me.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're going to run the ball a lot in Cleveland. I feel like until Deshaun Watson comes back, unless Jacoby Brissett shows us. But until they show us, I got to go with sitting Amari Cooper right now. He doesn't have that sort of help that some of those other wide receivers we talked about in Cleveland. Now I'm going to give you a couple of sleepers at the wide receiver position, and let's just throw it out there. Any wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers at this point is going to be a sleeper play because no Allen Lazard, Devontae Adams is gone. So what do you got? You got Randall Cobb.
Yeah, you got Randall.
And you
Cobb.
got the two. Listen, I feel like every time I say Randall Cobb, we gotta play the video of that little kid talking about corn. Have you seen the corn kid yet?
Yep.
Yeah, I think about that guy when I think about Randall Cobb. And then they got the two rookies. I love Watson. I think he's going to be a stud, but he's been hurt a lot during the preseason. So I think Romeo Doubs is going to be the rookie that kind of stands out. Sammy Watkins. We got a little Sammy Watkins love in there, So listen, it's going to be quite interesting in Green Bay. I think you could take any of those guys. And then, excuse me, I'm going to go Nico Collins. You guys know I love my sleeper Texans.
You were going to go with Nico Collins, bro.
I got to throw some Nico Collins in there.
Wait, where did Nico Collins go to school?
Michigan.
Michigan, that's right.
Yeah, but I love Nico Collins. I think he's going to have a huge year this year. Him and Davis Mills really got on the same page towards the end of last season. And one last sleeper, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
That's a good one.
He was number 2 in downfield targets in the entire NFL behind one other person. That would have been Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill leaves Kansas City. What does Kansas City do? They bring in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So maybe he's going to take the place of Tyreek Hill. Nobody can ever replace Tyreek Hill and his speed. But if you're going to bring in another guy to have a downfield target, you might as well bring in the guy who was number 2 in downfield targets in the NFL in Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
That's
so
a
what do you
surprising
have?
stat, man.
That
was just so surprising to me because I'm not high on Marquez Valdez-Scantling. For me, I got a couple here I'm going to give you. I like the rookie in Pittsburgh, my man George Pickens. He seems like he's going to be a guy. He's making plays. It's just all about how many snaps he's going to get, how many targets he's going to get, if he's even going to be involved in this game plan here today. Another one I like is Mecole Hardman because if it's not your boy Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's going to step up? Mecole Hardman has a little bit of chemistry with Patrick Mahomes already. I like the matchup versus the Cardinals. And my third one, I really like this one right here. I like wide receiver Joshua Palmer from the Chargers.
Ooh,
he's stepping into a starting role right now. Now, last year, he logged 3 games where he played at least 60% of the snaps, and in those weeks he finished as wide receiver number 16, number 21, and number 32. Now that he's more in a full-time role, I look for him to really, really make some plays in that Chargers offense. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I feel like that kid is ascending, so I think all the wide receivers over there are going to eat this year. But, as far as my sleeper, I think Joshua Palmer is probably at the top of my sleeper list right now.
Man, let me tell y'all, Authentic always downplays himself when it comes to fantasy football and bets. But man, you've been coming out the gate swinging in the first episode of the parlay. Big shout out to Authentic, killing it. I love Josh Palmer. And speaking of Justin Herbert over the weekend had 2 of his rookie cards sell. One of them sold for $1.8 million.
Good God.
And the other one sold for $1.2 million. So $3 million worth of Justin Herbert rookie cards sold over the weekend, and that was only 2 cards. So shout out to those guys.
I'm rooting for him this year, man. I think they went from 7 wins to 9 wins. I'm rooting for him this year. I really want them to make that run, man, because I think he's mentioned with the elite category of quarterbacks, but if he could get some more wins under his belt, they really going to start talking about him for real.
Absolutely. So we're going to answer a couple more questions really fast, and then I'm going to have Authentic tell you something that helps me run faster than a speeding bullet, and we will tell you about that in 1 second. So Philly Flipper, big shout out to my man Paul, who's actually moving from Philly to Florida, but he says start Rashad Penny or Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, that's terrible and tough. I'm going to keep it real with you, Philly Flipper. Man, I don't like that. I think Rashard Penny, you can bank on him probably getting more volume. So I had him as a guy that you should sit, but if it's between those two, you never know with Ramondre Stevenson with the New England Patriots, man. They're really running back by committee over there. You just don't know who it's going to be. I go Rashard Penny just for this week and then kind of see what Ramondre does in this game, and you might want to go. You might want to keep your eye on the waiver wire, to be honest. I'm keeping it focused with you.
Yeah, I think that might be your best bet. I mean, literally, I couldn't have answered that question any better. Rashad Penny, until Kenneth Walker is 100% healthy, is going to be the guy there. No more Chris Carson. Watch out for DJ Dallas, though. I love DJ Dallas.
Yeah, you've been on DJ Dallas for a second, man.
Big DJ Dallas guy. And then Ramondre Stevenson. I like Ramondre Stevenson, but New England just butchers running backs for fantasy. Like, you just don't know. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, some guy you've never heard of before coming off of the bench. You know, like, you just don't know. So it's kind of tough, but I think in that situation, you got to go Rashad Penny. Jamar Chase or Devontae Adams? Tough. If you're in a position I have to choose between two,
that's what I want to know.
Who else do you have? Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Is Justin Jefferson in the mix or something? Who else is in the mix there?
My goodness.
I'd go both of them if I had to choose between one of them. So let me just think about the matchups. Adams is going against the Raiders, going against the Chargers. That defense is going to be improved.
I don't think they have J.C. Jackson, though.
Yeah, but you got Khalil Mack and Bosa out there putting pressure on the quarterback. And then the Bengals are going up against the Steelers. So both pretty difficult matchups when you look at them. I think Jamar Chase is a slower starter. I'm going Devontae Adams if I have to choose.
This is tough. I love Devontae Adams, and I love the fact that he's with Carr, who they were college roommates and teammates. But I'm going to go Jamar Chase because I had him in my top 3 this week, and that's the only reason why. So I'm going to go Jamar Chase. I got to stand by my words. C-Bands Never Stay Locking is in the building. It says Josh Jacobs or Miles Sanders. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. I think Authentic said it best earlier when he talked about those Philadelphia running backs. You just don't know which direction they're going to go in. I think Miles Sanders has potential. He's great out of the backfield, catching the ball, running the ball. He's a huge home run threat. But until we see that offense, Josh Jacobs, I can't even tell you who the backup running back is for the Raiders right now. And I usually know everybody. I don't know who it is. Couldn't tell you. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Miles Sanders has had a volume issue his whole entire career, if you think about it. And stemming from injuries, obviously, but like even when he's healthy, it just seems like he's always on a certain kind of pitch count. I got to go Josh Jacobs. And the backup running back for the Raiders is Zamir White and Brandon Bolden. Where was Brandon Bolden at? He was
New England.
A Patriot? Yeah, he was a Patriot for a while. They also have Amir Abdullah as well over there.
Oh, he might be the guy that sneaks away from Josh Jacobs.
ESPN has him 4th on the depth chart, but you never know, man.
Yeah, you never know. Big shout out to Nick the Wick for the $1.99 super chat. Says, with George Kittle out, do I go Mike Gesicki or Robert Tonyan? I love Gesicki. I just love him. The guy is like he does it for me. I love Robert Tonyan too, but until I see Tonyan on the field with the recovery from the injury, I'm gonna go Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I think Tanya will probably be the better long-term play, but I'm with Gesicki on this too.
Let me make sure I am not missing any other ones. Here we go. James Funk, 2 running backs, Melvin Gordon, J.D. McKissick, Travis Etienne, Mostert, and Penny.
I like Melvin Gordon. I got him in my lineup today, and I like Etienne.
I'm gonna
almost put McKissick as a sleeper in my running back section though.
I'm gonna go Travis Etienne and Rashad Penny. That's gonna be my 2. That's gonna
you
be
told
my
me
2.
that you think Melvin Gordon takes a step back this year. They kind of split carries last year.
Yeah, they did 50-50. I think they're gonna go more 60-40 Javonte Williams this year.
Yeah, got to keep our eyes on that.
Oh, here we go. We got a deep fantasy running back backup rookie call here. Isaac Pacheco, who is the Kansas City Chiefs running back, and Breece Hall, the New York Jets running back.
You got to go Breece Hall on this one, I think. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire over there and with the Chiefs as well. And then McKinnon was doing pretty decent for them as well. He's still over there, I think, too.
Yeah, he is. He played really well, especially in that playoff.
Yeah, he was rocking that number
playoff
1.
Run.
When you rock that number 1, you better be a somebody.
I'm gonna go Breece. I'm gonna go Breece Hall as well. Yep. And then one more question from C-Bands Never Stay Lacking 45. I just love saying that name. Like, I just feel like I'm in the drop top West Coast khakis, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Listen, this is tough for me because I was in a position a couple of times to draft both of those guys on the same team. To me, it's very difficult to start 2 players in the same position on the same team in fantasy. If you're doing daily fantasy, it definitely works. You want to stack and load a game if you think it's going to be high scoring. But if I had to choose one, depending on the type of league I'm in, PPR, I love Jalen Waddle because, like I said, he's a possession guy. But I try to not play the 2 of the same positions on the same team. But, I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's not a bad 2 to play if I had to do it.
You're right. And you talked about, like, the volume as far as PPR leagues go with Jalen Waddle. And I'm curious to see what Tyreek Hill does in that offense. Like, is that going to make Jalen Waddle take a hit as far as volume goes? Because he was getting a lot of catches. I think didn't he get near 100 or breach 100 last year, I believe, Jalen Waddle? I know
Waddle, he did. I'm pretty sure he crossed 100 if I'm not
pretty sure he
mistaken.
crossed 100 too. So, but Tyreek Hill is the kind of guy that when teams put the safeties back and try to, not allow them to go over top, I mean, he can do damage on the mesh crossing kind of concepts. So both of them kind of do that. As far as the advice on starting both of them, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what other wide receivers you have in your room. If there's a drastic drop-off, let's say, I'll give you something as the top of the threshold being like a Christian Kirk, I might go with both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, actually.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. Big shout out to ENA. We got time for the $4.99 super chat. Says, what up, fellas? Game day is here. I smell a Shep touchdown, and I got Commanders money line, last leg in a parlay. Don't let me down. I really hope that we don't let you down because I cannot take a Notre Dame loss, a Washington Commanders loss, and a Baltimore Orioles loss in
y'all lost to the
span.
Red Sox, right?
Yeah, I got pounded to the Red Sox last night.
I know PJ's feeling real good about himself today.
All in one says Josh Jacobs, Chase Claypool, Devontae Adams for a flex. You only get one. I'm going Devontae Adams.
Yeah, definitely Devontae
Big
Adams.
shout out to Kevin. Welcome back, my friend. Happy Realization Day, everyone. The day we all realize we suck as much as last year.
I don't know if that day is going to be the day. Maybe in a week or two. I'll feel you.
Yeah. Okay, before we go into one of my secrets to my 4.6 40-yard dash speed, we're going to pick a quick tight end to throw out there for you. Who you got at tight end today?
Give me Mark Andrews. You already know. Proven. He took the number 1 slot as far as tight ends go. He beat out Travis Kelce for that number 1 slot. I like Mark Andrews, man. He's that guy, man. And Lamar Jackson's about to come back on a mission right now. He just turned down 250 M's looking like Dave Chappelle with Comedy Central or something right now. I think he's going to ball out, man. This is another prove-it year for him. This might be a Super Bowl run type year for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
I absolutely love Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is my number 1 tight end this week as well. I'll give you a couple other names. Kyle Pitts. I'm still high on Kyle Pitts.
Facts.
Albert O in Denver. And Irv Smith.
Sleeper.
In Minnesota. Back from the injury. And then obviously we talked earlier about Mo Alley Cox too. So those are a couple of names for you guys to kind of keep your eye out on. Let's tell the good folks what helps me with my 4.6 40-yard dash speed.
I got you. And you were talking about C-Bands giving you some West Coast vibes, so I'm going to give you some West Coast vibes here one time as well for this read. All right, y'all. Support for the Parlay from Awthentik and The Beard is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Bars. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code AATB. That's the acronym for Awthentik and The Beard at manscaped.com. Get your 20% off and free shipping with that code AATB. Manscaped with a D at the end of that. .com. That's 20% off. And worldwide free shipping. You cannot beat that. So unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Shout out to Josie, your wife, who posted the picture from the wedding. You've been telling me this story for so long. I also want to shout out the photographer at the wedding because he captured that moment brilliantly. It's probably one of the most amazing pictures in that batch. She's laughing ear to ear when you told her what in her ear?
I shaved my balls.
Yo, that's so terrible. So they got a bunch of stuff in this package, man. I've talked about this on the first read we did on the first show. Like, Manscaped was not a product that I thought was necessary for me to use, but the trimmer is awesome. The nose trimmer is awesome. They gave us some dope boxers, dope t-shirt. They got a little bag that everything fits in really nice. So definitely check out Manscaped. We're on a kind of like a trial period here with this sponsor. And I always told the Beard, like, I don't want to have products that we're going to be representing or going to be representing us that we actually aren't invested in, things that we can't promote that we feel are necessary or like something that actually works for us. So this Manscaped package has been definitely getting a lot of use. They put me onto the ball balm. I didn't even know you could have balm for your balls, but they put me onto the ball balm. So definitely check them out. Manscaped, the way it's spelled on the screen.com. AATB is the code for 20% off.
Yep, and you can find that link and code in the description of this video as well as the pinned comment once we are done with this live. So at this point now, we are going to do rapid fire.
Oh, man, I almost need that Glock sound right now for that rapid fire. Let me see if I can remember where it's at. Oh, it's not there. There you go.
I'm not about to spike, don't care. All right, we are going to run through every single game right now on the docket. We're going to tell you who we think is going to win. We might even tell you if we are, feeling it in the groove of the moment when we're going through this rapid fire. Who's going to cover the spread, overs and unders. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll through these games. And then if we have any time, but at the end, we will answer any last-minute fantasy football questions.
Let's fly. So we at what, 12:15? How late you want to go? How late you want to go on the show? Just curious.
We like to go to 12:30 because that allows everybody ample time to make any adjustments to their fantasy team. Get your beers, get your food, get your TVs right. For those of us who don't have cable, we got to kind of figure out, how we're gonna watch these games.
Splitting the screens up, and for anybody who's having trouble with any games, I don't know how sketchy this might be, but just Google Stream East. See what you want over there. We ain't hosting the server, okay? But I'm just giving you the plug. If you need to see your game or you need to get your eyes on some red zone action or anything like that, Stream East. Google that, all right? I'll take care of you on the graphics on this rapid fire as well, too. Let's fly through these. We got to go because I do want to leave a little bit of time for people for some questions at the end of the show.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's start with this first one.
First game on the docket is going to be the San Francisco 49ers, who are 6.5-point favorites at the Chicago Bears. The over-under is 40. It's Awthentik. Tell me what you got.
Okay, so the weather is looking crazy. With that 40 over there, I do not think we are going to get there. The San Francisco 49ers are favored by 6.5. I think this game is going to be a little bit closer than people expect. I think the 49ers will ultimately get the win, but I'm looking for the Bears to cover. This should be a 3-point win for the San Francisco 49ers.
Interesting. Trey Lance versus Justin Fields. quarterbacks from the same rookie class clashing off. Listen, Trey Lance was my number one prospect of the quarterback position of all those quarterbacks. I am excited to see what he is going to be able to do with a full season, a full offseason of reps. Hopefully, I mean, there's going to be some bumps in the road for sure, but he is a natural athlete. I'm going to take San Francisco to cover the 6.5 points, and I'm going to take the under 40 as well.
All right.
Next up on the docket, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 5.5 point favorites at the Detroit Lions. The over-under is actually a whopping 48.5 points. I love the Eagles in this game. As much as I think the Lions are improved, I'm going to take the Eagles minus the 5.5. And I'm going to take, well, let's see. I had Philadelphia winning this game 27-17, so that's 34-44. I'm going to take the under 48.5.
I'm right there with you on that. I'm taking the under in this game. My man Nick DeWick already told y'all this is free money. This is probably one of the most easiest bets of the week. I got the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one and cover.
Next up on the docket is going to be the New Orleans Saints, who are 5.5 point favorites. Shout out to the graphics department. That one looks sick.
Yeah,
the New Orleans Saints are 5.5 point favorites in Atlanta. The over-under is 43.5. I like the Saints to win this game. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to cover on a sneaky bet here. I'll take the Falcons to cover the 5.5, Saints to win. I'm going to go over 43.5 points.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be like a little bit ugly, but I do think there'll be a decent amount of points scored in this game. Two quarterbacks who were drafted in the same class, I believe, right? Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, both fighting for their NFL careers here. You know, they definitely got to make a splash here. I'm going to take the over in this game. Will the Saints cover here? Saints are going to cover.
Ooh, that's a tough game when you really break it down.
This might be the most tough game of the whole week.
Next game on the docket is going to be the New England Patriots. Shout out to the graphics department. This one looks dope too. Oh man, the New England Patriots are going on the road to Miami. I can't imagine Mac Jones in South Beach, but Miami is a 3.5 point favorite. The over/under is a pedestrian 46 points. Authentic, tell me what you got.
They're real smart with that 3.5. I do think this is going to be a 3-point game. You can't forget, man, this is Bill Belichick, man. He knows how to make quarterbacks get flustered. Tua is probably going to struggle in this game, but it's a good one to keep your eyes on to see what he's going to be able to do with Waddle and what he's going to be able to do with Tyreek Hill. I mean, the Dolphins have had the Patriots number. They have beat them even when you thought that they weren't supposed to. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this game, but I think it's going to be a 3-point game, so I got the Patriots covering.
Listen, it's Tua time. Herbert had his shine. Burrow had his shine. Hurts and Tua, this is their year for the quarterbacks from that quarterback class. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins to cover the 3.5 points, and I'm going to take the under. I think there's a slight chance the New England Patriots get blown out in this game.
There is a chance. You're right about that. Don't let that Miami offense get to clicking and get to popping. And we've seen that. And then their defense, don't let them get to getting a lot of turnovers. That game could get really ugly.
Really ugly, really quick. Speaking of really ugly, really quick, the next game on the docket is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, who are 6.5 point favorites. They are heading to New York to play the New York Jets. No Zach Milfson. He is out in this game. He is out of this game. Joe Flacco in a little bit of a revenge game, though.
Oh, yeah.
The over-under is 44. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to cover this 6.5. I'm also going to go over 44. I think, the Jets maybe put up some garbage time points in this game. So I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens minus 6.5, and I'm going to take the over 44.
Man, you talked about it, man. Revenge game for your boy Joe Flacco. Man, it's not going to matter. The Ravens are about to blow the Jets out. I'm taking the over in this game, and I think most of the points are going to come from the Ravens. The tour starts right now for Lamar Jackson. He about to go off, and what a game to start the season against the Jets with a backup quarterback. It's going to be fun to see Lamar Jackson take care of business against Joe Flacco. So I got the Baltimore Ravens covering, and I'm taking the over.
Ooh, we got a nice divisional matchup up next. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cincinnati. Man, somebody in the chat said the graphics department needs a raise. You are not lying, my
right
friend.
About that.
The Cincinnati Bengals are 7-point favorites. This might be the largest spread or one of the largest spreads of the weekend. The over-under is 44.5 points. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Upset alert. The Steelers are going to win this game outright. I'm taking the over. We are definitely going to get there. I told y'all Mitchell Trubisky is my sleeper quarterback. Look for Mike Tomlin to fluster Joe Burrow in this game. Cannot allow the big plays if you want to win this game. I got the Steelers winning this one outright.
Ooh, that is crazy. Listen, I think because it's a divisional game first week, 7 points is kind of a lot. I'm going to take the Bengals to win, the Steelers to cover, and I am going to take the over 44.5 points in this game. Moving to another divisional matchup and another 7-point spread. Up next, the Indianapolis Colts are 7-point favorites at my darling sleeper team of the NFL season, the Houston Texans. The over-under is 45.5. I think you already know where I'm going with this game. Give me the Houston Texans plus 7 points. You know what? I'm going to go even farther than that. Give me the Houston Texans to win outright against the Indianapolis Colts on a last-second field goal. I'm going to take the over 45.5 points in this game as well. Authentic. Am I crazy?
You definitely crazy. I don't even know if it started when you said that pick, but you definitely crazy. I'm going to take the under in this game, man. I think that the Colts are going to cover, but I'm going to take the under. I don't see that offense coming out and being as high-powered as it might be when we get to the midseason, maybe late in the season. But I think the Colts are going to be a good roster. They're going to rely on the run today, man. So not super high scoring. I'm taking the under 45.5, and I'm going to take the Colts to cover that 7.
I don't know if this next game line has moved or not, but as of printing press time this morning, the Cleveland Browns are headed to Carolina, and it is even money. So there's no line. This is a straight pick'em game. The over-under is a underwhelming 42 points. I think Baker Mayfield goes absolutely ham in this game. I'm taking Cleveland to win. You're taking the Panthers to win, I think, if you think Baker's going to go ham. I know Baker used to be over there. All right, let's retry that one more time. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers to win. Baker Mayfield's going to go absolutely ham. I'm talking honey-baked ham. And I'm going to take the over at 42 points. I think Carolina figures out a way to sneak in some last-minute points there. Yeah, so I'm thinking, somewhere along the lines of a 28-17 game sort of situation, something like that.
I'm with you on that. I got an email from the graphics department, and it said, the Browns don't have a logo. What the hell is that? It's just a helmet. That's literally their logo. Terrible. You're muted right now. I don't know what went down. Oh, there you go.
It's not even brown. That's what's funny, too.
I know. It's you're not going to go there. The Browns, terrible. But I'm with you on this. I'm taking the Panthers in this game. Baker Mayfield said to the reporter, I know they said that there was false reports, but he said, I'm going to them up, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Every time Baker Mayfield has been with his back against the wall, dating all the way back, wasn't he a walk-on in college? Dude's going to get the job done. He's got another shot in the NFL to prove that he could be a starting quarterback, a legitimate one at that. I'm not as down on Baker Mayfield as a lot of people have been, especially in the Giants community. Give me the Panthers to cover this one, and I'm taking it over as well.
It's gonna be interesting to see Baker Mayfield in a Carolina uniform taking on the Cleveland Browns. Up next is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming to my house to face the brand new Washington Commanders. I still don't know what our mascot is, what the fight song is, but I do know we're burgundy and gold. And you know where I'm going with this. The Washington Commanders are going to win this game by a final score of 21-17. So I will take the Washington Commanders to cover the 3 points, but I'm going to go under the total of 44.
21-17. Yeah, just looking at this update here. Okay. 21-17. I had this game 21-20 when we picked these games in our preview show on Thursday. Make sure to tune in Awthentik and The Beard. Them Thursday preview shows are definitely lit. And I had you guys coming out on top. So, yeah, I'll take Washington in this one. They won't cover. I'm just under. I'm just under that 44, so I'm taking the under.
And it's time to move right in to the afternoon games. And the next game on the docket is going to be Awthentik's New York Football Giants headed down to the Music City to face the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 5.5-point favorites. The over-under is 44. I got the New York Giants covering. I think they cover the 5.5 points, but I think Tennessee wins by a final score of 21-17. So I'm also going to take. I'm also going to take the under in this game.
Man, what did I pick here?
The pressure's cooking.
I picked 26-17. So what is that? Is that just under? That's just under. Wow. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking the under in this game. I got the New York Giants winning this one outright. Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Spike don't care.
Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback position.
Spike don't care.
New rookie in Treylon Burks.
Spike don't care.
It's week 1. My New York Giants better go out here and handle business. Surprise me, man. I've been down on them the whole offseason. I'm talking maybe 5-6 wins on the season possibly. Go out here and surprise me. Daniel Jones especially, Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney, I need y'all to put up, man. It's time. You got 17 games to show up and show the NFL that you belong to be on a roster, especially on a blue roster with the New York Giants. I'm taking my Giants. I'm taking the under.
It's going to be a fun game no matter what because both of our teams are playing. It is the first week in the NFL football season. And up next, the Kansas City Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites at the Arizona Cardinals. The over-under is a whopping 54 points. This is a completely new look Kansas City Chiefs at the wide receiver position, it feels like. Arizona Cardinals are hurting at the wide receiver position. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win. I'm going to take them to cover the 6.5. I think they win by 7 points. I am also going to take the over in this game. I think Kyler Murray finds a way to find somebody for some touchdowns and keep this game somewhat close.
These are going to be interesting to look back at when the week is over here. I'm going to take the under in this game. KC started slow last year. Remember, Patrick Mahomes was having some trouble with the interceptions early on. He did finish the year extremely strong. Kyler Murray lacking the wide receivers over there right now for this week 1 matchup. I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover.
Up next is going to be an exciting rematch of an exciting game or two from last year. That's the Las Vegas Raiders heading to not San Diego, but the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3.5 points. The over-under in this game is 52. I love both of these teams. I think both of these teams are going to have winning records and are going to, push the pace for a possible division crown. But I am going to take the Los Angeles Chargers to win. I am going to take the Raiders to cover. I think this is a 3-point victory for the Los Angeles Chargers. I am going to take the over 52 points.
Taking the over. This is a good matchup between two fantastic quarterbacks. 52, I think we going to get there. I definitely think we going to get there. I like the Chargers to cover, though, man. I think the Chargers are going to come out hot this year, man. They got all the weapons you need on offense to put up points. They've made upgrades on defense. Khalil Mack going over there. Yeah, I'm looking at the Chargers to take care of business here early on in the season here. And I think that Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are going to be still building that chemistry. But look for still a decent game out of Devontae Adams. Give me the Chargers in this one and the over.
Up next, this is a kind of a surprising line. The Green Bay Packers are at the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings are favored by 1.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. Tell me what you got, Awthentik.
1.5. I mean, that's really tight right there. This is probably the first time the Vikings have been favored over the Packers in a pretty good long time. I got the Vikings winning this division, man. You talked about Irv Smith coming back at the tight end position. That's going to just upgrade that offense. They got all boxes checked on that offensive side of the ball. Defense, I'm a little bit worried about, but give me the Vikings in this one. I'm going to take the over 46.5, and I think the Vikings are going to cover.
Ooh, I'm going to take Green Bay. Even though I said sit Aaron Rodgers, I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to finally find a way without Devontae Adams. I think Kirk Cousins at the end of this game. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win. I am also going to take the over 46 and a half
Listen, one
points.
quick stat. So you taking the over 46 and a half. I just got this from Adam Schefter, and it says it's perfect timing. It says heading into today's game versus the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers has not thrown an interception versus an NFC North team since December of 2019. A span over 2 seasons and 380 passes.
Does he throw an interception now that we've read that stat out loud?
Most definitely.
All right, let's go to Sunday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 2.5-point favorites. That seems a little low to me. They're headed to Dallas. The over-under is a whopping 50.5 points. Give me Tampa Bay all day long. I think they win 31-20. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to win, to cover, and give me the over. What about you, Mr. Awthentik?
This one is tough. Now, last year, the Cowboys and the Bucs opened up the season on Thursday night. The Cowboys hung close. They even had the lead in the fourth quarter. It took for Tom Brady to run down the field and get a touchdown. They ended up losing the game by 2 points, so I see why it's 2.5 right here. But you can't ignore the fact that the Cowboys lost Amari Cooper here, that wide receiver room. Their offensive line has took a couple hits, so I'm in agreement with you on this one. Give me the over in this game, but I am taking the Bucs to win this one and cover.
And are you ready for some football? Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos, now led by former Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, are heading back to Seattle. Well, the NFL planned this just nice and dandy,
Carolina,
didn't they?
Cleveland, Seattle, Denver.
We'll leave the story for another day. Denver's favored by 6.5 points. The over-under is 44. I'm going to take Denver to cover this, and I'm going to take the under 44 points. But yeah, give me Denver Broncos minus 6.5 and under 44.
Nothing more to be said. I'm right there in agreement with you on this one. Taking the under. Seahawks cover.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, the first edition of the 2022 Parlay Rapid Fire. Now, we're going to answer a couple of questions here before we walk out the door and
literally
go downstairs.
some last minute questions. We're going to go till 35, the absolute latest. So if y'all got any, if you weren't here for the beginning when we were answering some questions, if you got any last minute fantasy questions you might want to add. I want to know what's going on with Hunter Renfrow because I got him in my lineup and I'm going to have to make definitely a game time decision here. I looked up on Twitter Hunter Renfrow COVID and did not find anything quite yet.
I think somebody said that it was Hunter Renfrow from baseball, not Hunter Renfrow from football.
Oh, that makes sense. So you can't be playing games like that on Sunday,
Nope,
especially
can't be
week
doing
one.
that.
You cannot be playing. Hey, one of my mods, can y'all hit? So now I'm just playing. You're welcome here at all times. Y'all know what it is.
Davion Taylor says, fantasy questions, should I start Tony Pollard or Antonio Gibson? Antonio Gibson, I think that's the way to go in this one.
I wanted to put Antonio Gibson as a sleeper running back this week. I think he's going to go off, man. He's got a lot to prove. Had the rookie pressing him out, Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson ends up getting shot. You got an opportunity here. You better jump through that window and make it happen.
Trey Lance or Tua Tagovailoa, and did you just say a ball bomb?
Ball bomb. I did say ball bomb. Let's start backwards here. We did say ball bomb. You apply it like this. And I'm going Tua with this one.
Ooh, this is tough.
The rain. Don't forget the rain.
The rain, yeah. The rain makes it a little bit difficult. I'm going to go Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has a crazy run today, and that kind of puts him over the edge when it comes to fantasy points.
I want to pick the Bears in an upset in that game. We'll see.
That's kind of interesting.
Waterfly, I want to know what's in the cup, bro. It's just water. I might have a beer before today's game. We'll see.
Let's see where we're at. Platino Power says football's back. I'm back. Don't know if you guys remember me. Of course we remember you. You're Platino Power. We always remember
Shout
the
out,
Platino
man.
Power.
Dominicanos.
Gravetti wants to know Chase Edmonds or A.J. Dillon at the flex, full PPR. I love both these guys, but I'm going to go Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is one of my top 3 running backs this weekend.
I'm with you on the Chase Edmonds vibes too. I like A.J. Dillon though, but maybe later the season when injuries start to become a thing.
This one's kind of tough read, but I'm going to try it. 10 PPR redraft. Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, Zeke, Chase, Moore, Bateman, Waller, Penny. Got an offer for Zeke and return of Pittman. Easy decision. My bench running back is Pierce, Wilson Jr., and Henderson. Ooh.
Your running backs are kind of slim.
Yeah, your running backs are kind of slim. I would try and get him to throw in. Well, no, you have Aaron Jones. You have Aaron Jones. Is his bench wide receivers?
That's his bench.
Get rid of Zeke and take Michael Pittman and put in Pierce in your running back starter position with Aaron Jones. If you want to make the trade, you don't necessarily need to make the trade. I love your wide receivers, Chase.
I don't.
Bateman.
Well, Chase leads the room really good, right? The problem is that if you trade away Zeke, now you're bringing in a unproven running back. But you kind of have the same problem at wide receiver right now. You got one great wide receiver, but I'm not too sold on Moore and Bateman like that. I mean, they're going to do a little bit, but I'd hold off, man. I think Zeke might have a big year. I'd hold off. So we're a little split on this one.
Big shout out to Kyle Key for the $4.99 super chat. It says, for the Texans with the win. Yes. Make sure if you still have time to take the Texans 4.5 plus on their total season wins, I would do that as soon as possible. Oh, James Funk is calling Christian Watson 2 touchdowns in his debut today. Going to be interesting.
Keep an eye on that. What you think about that Packers defense or Steelers defense? Steelers going up against the Bengals, Packers against the Vikings.
I got to take the Packers defense. At least you have a chance of a fumble or an interception with Kirk Cousins at some
on this
point.
One too, man. I'm going Steelers defense. I think the Bengals aren't going to come out on fire. The Vikings, man, a lot of weapons on offense, but it is a divisional matchup, so that works in your favor if you do go with the Packers defense. Those are usually always good games.
Yep. So we did it. We got through all the questions. Got through all the games. It's 12:36. You guys got plenty of time to finish setting your lineups. Grab yourselves some food, some drink. Get your stream set up. Man, go Commanders.
Go Giants.
And, let's have some fun. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. We had 60-plus people for a majority of this day today on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Shout out to you guys.
Salute to y'all.
Appreciate the chat. Appreciate all the love, all the support. Don't forget, Giants Overreaction will be back
Monday.
Tomorrow.
It's gonna be a big show. It's going to be a big show.
So make sure you guys have that notification bell hit on the YouTube channel. That way you'll know as soon as Awthentik goes live and opens up a can of worms when it comes to the Giants community.
Yeah, it's going to be
it's
ugly
always a fun
or very
show.
pretty. We're going to see.
But hopefully you guys can come away with some victories in your fantasy football leagues this week. I want to give a big shout out to Awthentik and the graphic department. The left side to my strong side. I'm going to let him take us away here at Awthentik and the Beard.
Definitely, man. Best of luck to everybody in their fantasy games today. I hope y'all get to that bag. That's very important. Me and the Beard are in a couple leagues here, man. I really want to get to this bag this year. I haven't gotten the first place win in an extremely long time. And y'all know what it is over here at Awthentik and the Beard. If you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're digging the vibes and whatnot, man, nobody's a fan here. Everybody is fam. And, keep raising that bar, man. Just keep raising that bar. That's the vibes over here at Awthentik and the Beard. Keep living those dreams. Y'all know what it is, man. We will see y'all on Monday for the Giant Overreaction. And we'll see y'all throughout the week, man. We pretty much podcasting, more than I'm putting in work these days. So definitely stay tuned to what we got to come, man. And we will see y'all on Monday.
Peace.